think I said on the radio that I didn't think it would last, though.
What, me and him?
Yeah,
Why?
because you're about 25.
The industry as a whole is going to be rocked by what Blu Cantrell just disclosed, so you better be on your guard. There have been rumors about her strange relationship with Jay-Z for years, but now Blu is revealing everything, and it is more bizarre than anyone could have predicted. All Blu says that Jay-Z supposedly got her pregnant during a top-secret industry freak-off in this startling story. This is the point at which the tea becomes really hot. According to Blu, Queen Bee herself intervened and made her end the pregnancy. Was it damage control, jealousy, or a last-ditch effort to save the Carter Empire before it had even come into being? Blu is going to alter our preconceived notions about the Carters and their dubious business dealings. Her story is unvarnished, untidy, and downright terrifying. Hold on tight, because we are about to delve deeply into the complicated triangle that exists between Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Blu Cantrell, and it is far messier than any of us anticipated. Alright, so if you have been following the relationship between Diddy and Jay-Z, you are aware of how close they are. To be honest, some gave it more than just a casual friendship, partners in crime, and surprise, surprise, Jay-Z quickly turned on Diddy as he got into legal issues. He did not even seem to recognize that person when the streets began to speculate that Jay-Z was merely frantically attempting to keep his own alleged atrocities from being exposed. Our initial assumption that he distanced himself because he was repulsed by the things Diddy was accused of committing was swiftly disproved. He likely believed he was free to do as he pleased because he was successful for a long time and even defeated a civil lawsuit brought against him by attorney Tony Busby. As you can see, singer Blu Cantrell just come out to criticize both Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce. Blu claims that she and Jay-Z had a romantic relationship in the past and that they went to freak-offs together. However, how and exactly did they end up meeting in the first place? We must start from the beginning in order to explain that. Let us go back to the 1990s for a moment. People began to wonder if there might have been a love relationship between Blu Cantrell and Jay-Z behind the scenes because of their strong bond. At that period, Blu was establishing herself in the background by providing backup vocals for well-known artists like Diddy. However, the industry and the suits quickly recognized her brilliance. Her potential as a celebrity was evident to them. At that point, LA, persuaded that she was about to explode, Reed intervened and signed her to Arista Records. However, Blu Cantrell's first album, So Blue, was released in 2001 and was a success. It earned her 2 Grammy nods, a few top 10 singles, and a climb to number 8 on the Billboard 200. Within 2 weeks, the album became a gold standard. People genuinely believed she was going to take over because she was on fire. However, this is when the intriguing part begins. Jay-Z and Blu were becoming close, but Jay was also attempting to win Beyonce over. Why then was he still with Blu? Jay was reportedly keeping his options open at the moment in case his relationship with Bey did not work out. He was not going to try to put everything on the line and wind up disappointed again because he had already lost out when things with Aaliyah did not work out. Quite messy, isn't it? However, Blu's second album was out in 2003. At the same time, Beyonce's solo debut, Dangerously in Love, was published. You can already see that comparisons will start to surface when the two artists release significant projects simultaneously. They were soon depicted as being in some sort of competition with one another. The situation was further complicated by the fact that they were both connected to Jay-Z in separate ways. What began as conversation about music swiftly devolved into private drama. Blu insisted that she and Jay were merely buddies who worked together and that there was nothing romantic happening between them. However, the majority of people did not purchase it. With Beyonce in the photo, it appeared as though she was attempting to avoid the whole love triangle drama, and following Blu's interview with Wendy Williams, the rumors really took flight. Additionally, if you know anything about Ms. Wendy Williams, you are aware that she constantly speaks up. People paid attention to her because she was fearless, untidy, and always asked the questions that no one dared to ask aloud. Naturally, Wendy immediately asked Blu directly if she had ever kissed Jay-Z or had a romantic relationship with him, and Blu had the ideal chance to put a stop to it. However, she danced around the topic and chuckled instead of providing a straight response, and the rumors quickly blew up even more. She therefore caused people to talk louder rather than quiet that conversation.
Have you ever kissed Jay-Z romantically?
No. No, I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Oh, she's touching him off the neck! Look! You see?
Why do people not want to let the Jay-Z Blu Cantrell thing go?
Because, honey, that was a fabulous little high point in your
Well, what about Beyonce and Jay-Z? That's fabulous.
To be honest, there were a lot of better ways for Blu to respond to this issue, but avoiding it and laughing it off was arguably the worst course of action. She only increased the volume of the rumors rather than providing clarification. Wendy raised the possibility that Jay-Z may have chosen Beyonce due to her youth, but it did not end there. Rather than dismissing the inquiry, Blu immediately asserted that it had nothing to do with age. She asserted that Jay-Z targeted Beyonce due to her greater gullibility and susceptibility to manipulation. That is just the type of woman he was searching for, Blu said.
I said on the radio that I didn't think it would last, though.
What, me and him?
Yeah,
Why?
because you're about 25.
Why? He needs somebody younger than that?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Why did he say that?
Because I think at the end of the day, a younger, less savvy to the ways of the world broad.
Somebody a little bit more naive.
Many of us believed that Blu was being unduly shady toward Beyonce at the time, but after reading what she said about the bizarre scenario she had been in, it seems that she was speaking primarily about herself because she was also rather innocent at the time. People claim that she was so ignorant that she did not even realize she was being taken advantage of until it was too late. However, even if she was not attempting to be disparaging, her relationship with Beyonce was undoubtedly messier. Over the following few years, Blu did not hold back because the two women essentially could not stand one another. She also accused Beyonce of blatantly taking her images and passing them off as her own. The drama only kept getting worse. For instance, Blu was quick to accuse Beyonce and Jay-Z of stealing her Roundup music video when they released the music video for Bonnie and Clyde, because she had released her own song, Breathe, with Sean Paul prior to Beyonce's hit. Blu came out swinging once again, accusing Beyonce of imitating her when she released Baby Boy You Stay on My Mind with Sean Paul. Then there is the intriguing rumor that Beyonce was subtly criticizing Blu and her song signs. Bey sings in the song, I wish you was a Virgo, the same sign as me, yeah, and know how to show me love, cause I've been hurt by a Pisces girl. This is where it gets even more juicy though. Beyonce is a Virgo, Blu Cantrell is a Pisces, and Jay-Z is a Sagittarius. Fans naturally began making connections, interpreting the Zodiac incident and thinking Beyonce was subtly acknowledging that Jay-Z had cheated on her with Blu. It all made sense to some folks all of a sudden, since you know how the internet loves to add astrology and other things to things. You are in for a surprise though if you thought things couldn't get much more complicated or strange. When Blu was specifically questioned about Beyonce in an interview with The Guardian, what was her response? Let us simply say that it did not make matters any better. In fact, it exposed the entire drama and elevated it to a completely new plane. I said, she said, I'm an adult, she's younger, and if she's doing what you're saying, then she's being a little immature. Maybe she's trying to do it to get press, but I want to make her understand if she goes there with me, it's the wrong move. She needs to understand what she's doing and what she's getting into. Blu also dragged Jay-Z into it, saying if she is being negative, she doesn't need to be because she's a beautiful girl. But if you have issues with your man, address it with the guy. Don't take it out on the girl, it's never the way to go. However, the interview was essentially the final straw, since after that it seemed like everything fell apart at Blu Cantrell. Despite her brilliance and the success of her first two albums, she essentially disappeared from the music industry. No more singles, no more albums. To be honest, it seemed a little suspicious and unexpected. Perhaps it was all a part of something larger behind the scenes. And then, in late 2013, Blu reappeared, claiming to be a free agent and to be working on a third album. However, that project was also never released. When she was admitted to the hospital in 2014, following what was reportedly a mental breakdown, things took an even more dire turn. It was a very depressing circumstance that left many individuals curious about what precisely went on behind the scenes. She was found on the streets of Santa Monica in California by 2 a.m., screaming about how someone had tried to unalive her with some sort of poisonous gas, and she was eventually taken to the hospital for an evaluation. Fans were not having any of it, despite industry insiders trying to dismiss Blu's predicament as just another mental breakdown, and even suggesting that drugs may have played a role. They could not help but notice how much her narrative mirrored that of actor Martin Lawrence, who likewise experienced an unexplained collapse that left everyone perplexed and wondering. Supporters began to claim that there was something far more sinister and disturbing happening behind the scenes, and that this was not merely a coincidence. When things started to seem suspect, Jaguar Wright stepped in and offered her opinion. Blu's story was not the first time a celebrity was given a bizarre label. As everyone who knows Jaguar Wright knows, she is not afraid to share her thoughts and opinions. No holding back, no sugarcoating. Additionally, Jaguar Wright is going to drop some major bombs, so you might want to pay attention when she speaks.
Blue. The first Blue. Not they daughter Blu Cantrell. You were singing my fool. And you made a choice to work with someone, and you probably didn't realize how nefarious he was when you got involved with him. I didn't. Blue, it's time to talk. It's time for you to sing again. Because I know you still got the chops. You got the gift. Just like me. Jay-Z worked very hard to erase you and me. Just like he did Elle. Just like he did his relationship with R. Kelly. Just like he did his relationship with Aaliyah. Blue, it's time to talk.
Now that Blu Cantrell is at last prepared to share her side of the story, it appears that Jaguar's remarks truly resonated with her. She is talking about how a prominent person reportedly got her pulled from her label in retaliation, and Blu wants everyone to know that she did not choose to stay out of the spotlight, since it was a setup behind the scenes. She said, I would have got my lawyer, because that lawyer ended up representing them, which was a conflict of interest, so they were all working together to basically take what was mine. Nobody really knows the whole truth about me and them, but I was really taken advantage of. This part gets even more intense, so fasten your seatbelt. An individual close to Blu alleges that she is now talking about some quite startling allegations. According to Blu, Beyonce allegedly attempted to hurt her back in 2014. According to Blu, Beyonce wanted to perform these freak-offs after learning that she and Jay-Z were involved and that Jay-Z had actually gotten Blu pregnant. Beyonce apparently took drastic and extreme measures to ensure that this secret never leaked after learning of it. There was a lot to take in, especially given how well known all of the participants were, and this makes what already appeared to be a very complex scenario even more dramatic and sinister. But it got worse, everyone. Blu claims that after the poisoning failed, Beyonce allegedly coerced her into ending the pregnancy. Furthermore, Blu claims that there was a lot of pressure and threats involved, so this is not just a casual suggestion. Beyonce appears to be adamant about having just Carter children, and she will do whatever it takes to ensure that this occurs. As absurd as it may sound, Beyonce has destroyed the careers of other women besides Blu, supposedly as a result of Jay-Z, because Tierra Marie supposedly experienced the same thing. A few months back, a hot blonde item went viral, sending the streets into a full-blown frenzy. Queen Bee was accused of pulling strings behind the scenes, and that was every detail. Tierra Marie's singing career came to a halt because of Beyonce, according to the T. Tierra had a lot of talk around her at the time since she was young, new, and on the scene. Despite being much younger than Jay-Z, it seems that she too had a small romance developing with him. Furthermore, Beyonce reportedly became enraged when she learned of what was happening. According to the rumor, she quickly put an end to everything. She did not stop there though. Beyonce allegedly took some significant action to ensure Tierra's career never took off as planned. Rumor has it that she wanted to set an example for others, letting her know that there would be repercussions if she got too close to her man. Tierra went from being the next great thing to hardly being heard of in the industry in a matter of seconds.
And he signed her to a deal. By the time all of the ink was dry, she was just shy of being legal. But that didn't stop the mogul. He liked to sample the new talent. He was sampling her on a fairly regular basis, but he was also involved with the current A-plus list singer who was in his face every day. And this could allegedly be Beyonce. The thing is though, that corn star in charge of her career was feuding with the mogul and told the mogul he would not be allowed to hook up with the singer again. I assume he thought the mogul would think she was something special. Apparently not as special as the current A-plus lister, because the new signee was dropped and the word was put out on the street. No record deals for her from any label. When someone ignored the edict, they were paid a visit. If the visits were ignored, then other steps were taken. This was a total lockdown of a career that lasted almost a decade.
Let us not even discuss the topic of Cathy White, Jay-Z's other sidekick. According to reports, Cathy, like Blu, was expecting Jay-Z's child. She also unexpectedly died the day before she was set to make the affair and the baby public. It makes us think of Blu's predicament, does it not? According to some sources, B, not Jay-Z, was the one who unalived Cathy, and for years everyone has assumed that. It seems to me that Blu was fortunate to escape unharmed.